Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Tonight's video is completely unscheduled and unplanned, but throughout the day I have been watching the updates on what has happened to SELLIER. SELLIER is a consignment store in the UK. I think they're based in London. I think they also might have pop-ups in other countries, but they're a very high-end consignment store. They get a lot of very highly sought after, highly valuable consignment pieces. They stock Chanel, they stock Hermes, they stock Louis Vuitton, they stock Dior, and they have really beautiful stock. If you watched my video whenever I went vlogging flannels just before the summer, when I was trying on, there was a yellow Chanel bag that was beautiful, there was a tweed Chanel bag, there were Birkins. That is a SELLIER pop-up. SELLIER has now started pop-ups in different stores to include flannels, where they're sending out their consignment stock to these other bigger stores to spread probably across other venues. But it's been all over their social media today that they were robbed in London the night before, and they have a video on their social media. It's certainly on their Instagram. I think it's also on their TikTok, and it shows three, I assume, men completely dressed in black. They have hats on, gloves, they're completely in black. They have seemed to appear on motorbikes, and you can see them going to the window of one of their stores, and they put the window in, and then the men go in and they literally ransack and steal as much as they can out of the store. There's videos on their social media, and there is one where they go back to the store the next day and they're commenting on what has been taken. And I know they have mentioned there's a Birkin taken, there's a Kelly taken, there's Chanel bags taken, and this must be absolutely devastating for them. No matter who you are, to have built a business is hard, it's difficult, and SELLIER certainly is a consignment store that has a very strong reputation. To have done that, to have worked over the year to build up your reputation, to build up your inventory and your stock, to get to the point that you have physical stores, to be going into places like flannels and having pop-ups, to having stores in other countries, takes hard work, grit, determination, commitment, and really slogging away at making sure that your business earns that reputation, providing a good service and standing over your product. So I am sure when they woke up and got that news, they're absolutely devastated, and I am gutted for them. I was about to say I can't believe this has happened, but aren't we seeing more of this? And one of the reasons that I thought, I need to talk about this, and nobody in my real life really gets this, so I know if I talk to you guys that you will. One of the things that I see in my comment box a lot is people commenting that they are no longer comfortable wearing designer handbags because they're worried it makes them a security risk. They're worried it makes them a target in respect of people wanting to rob them or steal from them on the street. Because if you're carrying one of these, the logos, they're in your face. You can't really get away from the fact that that's an expensive bag that you're carrying, and it does attract the wrong sort of attention. When we were recently in New York, there was a number of us in New York and we all vlogged it, and I'm sure a lot of you have watched those videos. In New York, we had a fabulous time. For us, we went as tourists, apart from Lisa who lives there, into Manhattan. And we did not leave a pretty small area of Manhattan. I'm probably a bit ashamed to admit that. And we shopped a lot. And when those videos went live, on my vlogs certainly, I got a lot of comments from you guys that maybe live in America or live in New York, have experienced a different side of that, saying, I can't believe you're just openly walking about with your designer bags. I would not do that. I would be too fearful to do that. I would not want to attract the attention that you will have attracted from carrying those bags around. I have to say, when we were in New York, I don't think any of us had any experiences where we felt uncomfortable. Certainly speaking for myself personally, I didn't have any incidents, even carrying the massive shopping bags after we had been to Louis Vuitton, for example, and carrying that back through the streets of New York. I didn't feel uncomfortable. I suppose we maybe got lucky. But it's something that has appeared in my comment box more and more over the last months to years, of people talking about security and feeling unsafe and feeling like they are a target if they carry these bags. And now we're seeing more and more of these types of targeted attacks on luxury stores for robbery and for theft. We're certainly aware of the smash and grabs, I think they call them, that take place in Chanel and Louis Vuitton in the actual stores, where you get a gang that effectively comes smashing into the store, ransack the place when there can be people standing there, and run with all of the pieces that they've taken with them. That's something that has been happening for a while. Not that long ago, Designer Wish Bags on Instagram, who I believe is potentially Belgium, has a store where she runs a consignment store from, and I have shopped from Designer Wish Bags before. Have I sold with designer Wish bags? I maybe have. They were burgled before and all of their stock was taken. Obviously, we all know about the incident with Tamara, whenever Tamara's apartment was burgled and all of her belongings were taken. And I think there was another consignment store in the UK that I came across very briefly on social media that I think their warehouse was also attacked and ransacked and stolen from, and they lost an awful lot of stock. And now we have this example of Sellier, and it seems to be, from what the footage is showing, on a main street. Although it is nighttime, but it's on a very well-to-do area in London. And they're smashing through the window and out goes all of the stock. And it does bring more, I think, to the fore, this conversation about security and if we are secure carrying these sorts of bags. Because if they are targeting the stores that sell them, surely they know the worth of these bags. Obviously the stores they're able to steal or to burgle or to rob and take more and more and more in one go. But it doesn't really make you feel much better walking down the street carrying these bags. It also brings into question if you consign, because Sellier is a consignment store. The other UK-based consignment store that I can't remember the name of that I also think was burgled was also a consignment store, because the piece of social media footage that I had seen was talking about reimbursing the people that had consigned with them. Designer Wish bags I don't think is consignment. I think they buy the bags from you and then they sell them on. But it does also make you consider if you're consigning your bags. And I have sold by consignment before. I've consigned with Rod at the Lux Theory. I have consigned with Schiapella in Dublin. I have consigned with Sasha at Global Lux Closet. And that is where I have sent my bag to them. They have marketed the bag. Schiapella in Dublin has an actual physical store. They've sold the bag on, and then whenever it sells, they have sent me the money and taken a cut for that. Rod at the Lux Theory and Sasha are individuals, so I imagine they maybe do that from their home. I don't think that they have stores or from properties. And I suppose it also adds into the conversation of doing things like YouTube whenever you have all these sitting here and you're doing this publicly. But if we stick to consignment, because I don't really know if I want to go down that rabbit hole right now, but if we're thinking about consignment, would that make you question consigning your bags? Would that make you feel less safe or less secure to send your bags to a consignment store when there seems to be more and more examples of these robberies taking place? Now, from what I have seen on social media from Sellier, they have said that everyone who had consigned with them and lost any of their pieces will be fully reimbursed. So they're not going to leave the money. I imagine they have insurance. If they don't have insurance, they're standing over the pieces, so you're going to be paid out. What you're going to be paid out, whether or not it's the value or what you were going to get if it sold, I don't know. But they have said on their social media that they are going to reimburse everybody who had consigned with them. And that has to give a little bit of comfort, that if you're consigning with a consigner, that even if something goes wrong, is standing over their product. Because I don't think we can ever get to the point that if you decide to consign, and that is how a lot of us sell on our luxury goods if we're no longer using them. If you're no longer using your bags, fortunately for me, I have a channel, so I've recently sold a lot of my bags via a vlog sale. I have you guys to do that too, and I always make sure that I price them very fairly because I'm very conscious that they're going to people who come here and watch me. But if you don't have this platform, consignment is probably one of the few places to actually sell to get your bag to go to and for them to sell on. If we take that out, we are left with eBay, that we all know there's risks with selling on eBay. We're left with Vestiaire Collective. I personally haven't had bad experiences, but there are bad experiences reported on YouTube. Is there anywhere that is 110% safe to sell your bags? No, I don't think there is. I think there's probably an element of risk with everything. There is an element of risk that you could sell through eBay or Vestiaire and you get a seller or a buyer who is not 110% honest, and they say you sold them something that you didn't, or you didn't send the right item, or you didn't send the item at all. Or you can now send a consignment, and we're getting more examples of the risk of sending your bags to a consigner. And if it's somewhere that is known, people who are involved in these type of criminal activities are aware of your premises and your property, that there's a risk. And the risk is they're going to target to take these bags, because let's be honest, there's currency in these. It's not like trying to sell gold, I would imagine. There's a lot of places to sell bags. Just Lou, whenever she was on holiday in Italy, was robbed on holiday, and 2 of her Chanel bags, I think it was taken, and I'm fairly certain did they maybe turn up somewhere at a point. There are so many different places to sell bags. It's very, very difficult if they're going to go and rob a consignment store and steal a lot of Hermes or Chanel bags. It's very difficult to then see that when it comes up for sale and know exactly that that is the one, especially if it's a bag that is not a one-off. It's a bag that there's more than one of them in stock. How do you say whenever you see one, that's the one that was stolen? They may not have the receipt. There's times that bags are being sold on genuinely and you don't have the receipt anymore. So it's difficult to be able to say that's the exact piece and to be able to then recover it, which makes it attractive for these people to go and rob these types of stores. And I thought when this happened, I need to talk to someone about this, because this is not interesting, not in a good way, and it's scary, and it's something else that's added into the luxury community. And Deb and I was talking about this today, and Deb will have a video about this on her channel on Wild Unfiltered, so follow Deb and watch out her view on this as well, because Deb actually lives in England and she would be in London a lot more than I would, so she'll be able to comment more about physically being in London. And I also think that she's bought a bag. I think the Chanel sequenced that I have, Deb has, and Meredith has, I think Deb bought that from Sellier, so she'll have a different perspective to put on this. But it just, when I saw it, I was devastated for these people. I thought, who's going to understand the impact of this? Who am I going to be able to sit and talk to about having these bags, and if you were consigning them, and would you still consign them? I wish I could bring you guys and have a cup of tea right now and we could sit and talk this through, because it's on my mind, and I'm sure it's on more people's minds, and I would love to know, would you still consign? I know I would, because if at the end of the day you need to sell one of these and you're not doing it via vlog sale, where are you going to consign them? Or where are you going to sell them? I think I would probably, if I was still going to consign with either, say, Rod or Sasha or Connor at Conrad's Closet or down in Chapella, I think I would ask the question first now. If something happens, do you have insurance, or will I be reimbursed, or will I be covered? And I'm going to be honest with you. Before all of this on media and all of this being released in the news, I never would have dreamt, and I have never before said, can I just ask you, if something goes wrong and my bag is lost or stolen, will I be reimbursed for it? I didn't even come into my head to ask that question. Didn't even consider it. But now, because of all this press footage, I think that's something I would ask. And I would ask the question if there's insurance, or what would happen if something were to occur, would I be reimbursed? One of the things I did see on the footage that was shown on Sellier's social media is whenever they're going into the store there, and I will put Sellier's details down below in the description box, there was blood found, and hopefully that blood will come from one of the people who have stolen and broken into their premises. It did look on the footage as if they were all wearing gloves and a lot of black clothing and hats, so whether or not there was any of their body exposed for that blood to be theirs. But there's a lot of broken glass and there is blood, and you can see the police arrive and it's forensics to take samples of the blood. So hopefully, if that blood is tested and if it matches somebody's DNA that's already in the police systems and it's already on their databases, that will link them to whoever has broken into the store and left behind forensic evidence. But having the blood at the scene is no guarantee that they're going to be able to make arrest, but hopefully it will have come from somebody who actually broke in, cut themselves when they were doing that, and linked back to somebody who can be arrested for this. Now, that will give some comfort, I'm sure, to Sellier if somebody is arrested and actually prosecuted for it. But it's not going to get them back their money, and it's not going to get them back the pieces that were stolen, because let's be honest, the person who has stolen these, or the people who have stolen these, it's very unlikely that even now those pieces are still in their possession. They're probably transferred on and down the line and moved on within a very short period of time after this happening. So if the police were to find this person, test the DNA and go to their home, say, if they have their address in the system, the chances of these pieces still being there are very, very slim. And the chances of that person having the money that can be traced for compensation to be ordered to pay back to Sellier is probably very, very slim. So likely this is going to either be a loss to them financially or to their insurance company, but well above the actual facts and figures and black and white number of this and the amount of the pounds that they will have lost. It will be no doubt the feeling of absolutely being violated that somebody broke into your store, that somebody broke in and destroyed what you have built, that somebody trespassed into your private space, that it would just feel like a violation. And my heart breaks for them, and I'm sure that that is going to impact much more and much longer than what the actual dollar amount will, whenever this all comes to be calculated and how they work through this. And I'm just gutted for them that it happens to anybody, and to see it on the video, for them, I'm sure, to watch their own premises having their windows put in and people ransacking through the store, I'm sure it's absolutely heartbreaking. So I just wanted to come on and chat to you guys about this. As I say, I wish we could all sit down around the kitchen table with a cup of tea and chat this out. And what do you think? And you know, what do you think about consigning? And does it make you more cautious to carry your bags? Have you stopped carrying your bags? Do you carry them around the wrong way? If you go and you buy a bag, do you ask for the right carrier bag to put it in? Is it impacting how you use them, how you enjoy them? Would it impact how you would actually consign bags, or would you now not do that? I would be so interested to hear your opinions in the comment box and what you think of this. If you have enjoyed, could you enjoy this chat? If you if you find it interesting, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. If you would like some lighter content, I'm going to leave another video for you on the screen to enjoy. And if you do have a view on any of this, please do come into the comment box and let me know. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you for always watching me and supporting me. And I will see you again in the next one.